Hi guys, and welcome to a video on Sonal's life. Now, remember when I did the quick news for Naito, Bushi and Jeff Cobb leaving? A lot of you guys enjoyed that sort of quick star video, so I am back with that today, and we are on the 3rd of May, which means we had the first New Japan Dontaku show. Now normally, and you will get one, tomorrow I will have a full review of both of the shows. However, 3rd of May is also the anniversary of the Bullet Club. And in true Bullet Club style, they couldn't celebrate it with a party. They had to have a dog pound steel cage match. And so basically this was between the War Dogs. So we had Taiji Ishimori, David Finlay, Gabe Kidd, Driller Maloney and Clark Connors facing the House of Torture. Evil, Sanada, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Ren Narita and Sho. Now obviously on the outside we had Yujiro Takahashi and Dick Togo and Gato. And the added stipulation that came very late for this was that whoever loses gets kicked out of the Bullet Club, because obviously the ongoing drama that has been for years is not knowing what the state of Bullet Club is. There's been too many factions, too many off-roads, and specifically there had been a battle of power, a power struggle you could say, between House of Torture and the War Dogs on who is the real Bullet Club. Now, the reason that I'm here with this special video rather than putting it tomorrow is because, you know what? A topic that I've often talked about is the future of the faction. Once such a strong and staple group, obviously founded by Prince Devitt, it saw its leaders change, off-roads done, like different sub-factions. It got to the point where it just became too convoluted. Nobody knew what was happening and what was going on. So today's match was meant to sort that out. Now, I am not a fan of steel cage matches. After last year's War Dogs versus United Empire, and obviously the unfortunate thing that happened with Alex Cogley having to retire, I wasn't really in a rush to see it again. However, and I put this on social media, make sure to follow me at wrestling_chat. That as bloody and intense as it was, I couldn't look away. It started very fast and very dangerously. They came out with weapons. Driller Maloney had his body belt of forks. Like, what the fuck? And it was just insane. Like, within seconds, members were bleeding. So the first member who was subjected to blood was Driller Maloney, who got attacked by his own forks. There was then tables, bats, kendo sticks, tables with like barbed wire on it. In particular, the members of War Dogs were really bloody. Finlay, it took a while for him to bleed. Actually, at one point I thought Finlay had the world's thickest skin because he was getting hit and all sorts and just not bleeding. Ishimori was like gushing with blood. And so was Connors. It was getting in his hair and things. Gabe, obviously he got flung into the table. And even on the other side, like Ren Narita, by the end of this, I couldn't see his face. It was just covered with blood. And like, I like to complain about Ren Narita, but actually, again, I have a real soft spot for him. Again, he's one of the young lions that I followed since he debuted. I saw him at Royal Quest and followed his journey. And you know what? I was worried because, like, and again, this was an amazing show. I'll probably talk more about it tomorrow. I was worried. I was like, is the faffery just going to be stupid? And is it going to be taken away by the House of Shenanigans Torture? But actually, the House of Torture shenanigans worked. I'm just going to quickly also give a shout to Sanada, who came out in like a glitter ball, like disco ball encrusted suit. Just wanted to give a shout before I forgot about that. But the hate that these two factions have for each other works so well, and the spots. So sometimes these can become spot monkey things. And again, I quite like that they must have learned from the past one where there's like it was still as bloody and vicious, but there was less sense of shit, this career might be over. But some of the moments that stood out was obviously Gabe Kidd getting flung into the table multiple times. Ishimori basically covered in blood and Clark Connors wanted to get up and he flung off. The pile driver that Gabe Kidd did with Ren Narita into a barbed wire table. Clark Connors' moments like with his baseball bat. And yeah, at one point, although Yujiro and Dick Togo weren't meant to be involved, when they got in, it wasn't like, oh, for fuck's sake, it was actually worked. There was quite a funny moment where Gato came in and was meant to like hit into a table to like ruin Dick Togo. So either the tables in Japan, we all know they're quite strong, are way too strong, or Gato was way too light because there was zero impact in there. But in the end, Gabe Kidd got the win over Ren Narita. But Simon, why could we not talk about this tomorrow in the review? Because I want to know what is next. What is the future of Bullet Club? Now we have the proper Bullet Club is the War Dogs. But this isn't over. We have Finlay challenging Evil for a dog collar match, maybe at Dominion. But more earlier, at Resurgence, they are going to be wrestling former members of the Bullet Club, Matt and Nick Jackson. Which is this going to now tie into the Bullet Club story? I think that if they can keep War Dogs as the Bullet Club and they can fully push away House of Torture, unfortunately we can't get rid of them completely, but as long as we can get them away from the Bullet Club moniker, including on the merch and stuff. I mean, it already is, but actually they have the potential to be the strongest combination of wrestlers that a Bullet Club has seen in a very long time. For me, one of the main issues that Bullet Club has faced over the years is the overmass of members. You know, you have different sub-factions, you have people coming in, you don't know who's a member of what. And if we can keep it as Bullet Club, so we have Taiji Shimori, David Finlay, Clark Connors, Gabe Kidd, Driller Maloney, Gato, just keep it at them. I don't know what the Rogue Army wants to do or what anyone else wants to do. Keep it as those 6. Ironically though, if anyone has been following wrestling, WWE had a huge amount of cuts today. And one of those cuts was Eddie Thorpe, aka Carl Fredericks, who was one of the young lions in the same class as a lot of these guys, War Dog guys. And I always think, and because I've been watching a bit of NXT for Eddie, and I always thought he wasn't being utilised right. Okay, maybe in the recent ones he might have been getting that push. And like, a lot of people found it unexpected. But if he had waited maybe half a year, rather than like leaving, and I think somebody said it was due to grievances that he wasn't in the G1, would he have been in that match? Now, I don't know what the future's going to be. He'll have that time where he's not allowed to compete, the no compete clause, and I don't know whether New Japan would want him back. But if I had to, like I said, I don't want too many members, but to complete the full circle, I think he would be a great addition to the War Dogs. Because he would know what the others feel. He already has a close bond. And that is what War Dogs, and why I think it's such an effective unit, is because they are willing to sacrifice so much for each other. They go out drinking. They spend time together. In the ring, they are one cohesive unit. They don't care if they bleed. They don't care what happens. They are doing it for their dogs. Because it's for our dogs for real. So I genuinely think that this is going to be a turning point for New Japan. I really hope that this means that all of these guys are now very much signed and contracted to New Japan. Again, we know that a lot of them have been working on appearance by appearance. But I think they really need to push this. Are they going to keep New Japan Bullet Club as heels? I kind of think they can't at this point. There was a moment where they were chanting Gato in the ring. But I think they can also use this to advantage. I'll probably speak about this more tomorrow. We don't know what the future of Los Ingobernables de Japón is going to be. So we could really do with some vigilantes, some tweeners, some anti-heroes. And Bullet Club could be that. The kind of faction who are for the fans, but against the establishment. You know, we've heard Gabe Kidd calling out the ADVA-GP committee and things like that. So I think it could work. I always say, what better way to celebrate a Bullet Club anniversary than a war? And this time, the war was won by the War Dogs. Bullet Club has gone through a rocky few years, but this match, this anniversary, is the perfect way to restart that and cement Bullet Club War Dogs, not only one of the strongest factions in New Japan, but one of the strongest factions in the world, adding Finlay to a list of those iconic leaders that we know and love so much from the faction's history. Now, as I said, this was a very short video. This was a very quick, let's bring out on what could happen in the future. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to follow me at social media at wrestling_chat. What were your thoughts on the match itself? What are your thoughts now? What do you think should happen with Bullet Club going forward? And where do you think the War Dogs fit into the legacy of the faction? We obviously have the second part of Dominion coming up tomorrow, which will feature huge title matches and the final bout in New Japan from Tetsuya Naito and Bushi. So it's going to be emotional. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and I will speak to you soon. Bye!